Said so excited so much because honestly, guys, I'm sitting here front row, actually closer than front row. We are ringside and we are watching the thing. Now, question for you. It is 8:20 in the morning. How was that jumping, but also like being thrown?
Yeah, it took a lot to wake up sometimes. I mean, normally you did a lot on the ice, on the floor, so that you were nice and warm and ready to go when you were on the ice. But for something like this, coming out for a long program, you don't need to overdo anything. Kind of like what I said yesterday, it's normally just going through maybe one element at a time, getting them checked off and ready to go for the competition. So.
And how did you work with that with jet lag too? Because I know a couple of teams out here do not train in the U.S. So it's like, did that make a big difference for you to get that timing with jet lag when you're changing to different time zones?
Yeah, for myself, I always felt really tired on the long program practice.
Yeah.
It was a bit different when I came out for the actual like competition portion, but I always remember just feeling so heavy in my legs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever felt that too, but it was pretty much like clockwork every time I was feeling heavy in my legs after a short program.
Oh, 100%. I was gassed. Every time going into the free, that warm-up, I was like, there's no way I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, the stories that would go in my mind, I'd be like, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen later. And then you make it happen every time.
Yeah. And somehow.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. But you will be seeing a lot of Lutz throws. Actually, Lutz throw and flip throw most of the time look very similar. There's not much difference, and there's not a difference in points. So, you'll see throw triple sows, throw triple loops out here.
What was the hardest one that you thought? Or like when you see it, you're like, dang, that's hard, and they execute it well. Like what throw are you like impressed by?
I would say throw triple Lutz, throw triple flip, like I'm saying they're the same thing, but those are usually like that's the highest point getter that you can do, and most of the time when a team does it, it covers a lot of distance on the ice and is entered with a lot of speed, so it can kind of like launch off of the hands. From what I've seen out here, I'm pretty sure that Katie and Daniil definitely do one. They did one in the short program yesterday, and it was really nice. and she's got to stay nice and strong up there too, no matter what's going on underneath her.
Isn't that so wild though when you think about it? Like when you were a skater, like it's second nature, but then you watch it and you're like, yeah, we're doing all this stuff on blades.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it look good. We're trying to smile. Oh, and by the way, like we're trying to float like above someone's head.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty nuts when you put it in the grand scheme of things, and then people are like, oh, it's not good.
Yeah, it's so easy to like say that as well, and I
Right.
think with doing all this, you also can't look like you're stressed or tired.
Right.
In your face, you've always got to be performing as well. So
Like think of how cautious we walk when it snows outside, and then we're like, no, but like, see, that's slow.
So yeah.
Can you go faster? And you're like, no, it's icy outside. So I think just putting things in relativity is super important.
Yeah, definitely.
So what other elements are we looking for in this?
We'll see a choreographic sequence, so at least it has to have at least 2 skating movements, like a dance lift, a spiral, spread eagles, butterfly.
Okay.
Features on the twist are going to be the steps going in, so you can't have a pause. That's what I talked about yesterday with it just continuing in. The split from the girl. So if you're going to break down the twist, you're going to see the split from the girl on the way up into the twist.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of girls sometimes will kick the right leg up and it doesn't give a split there. Or they'll bend the right leg up right away and it doesn't give that split feature.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and it happens so quick. I'm sure if you're watching it, you can't even see really that there is a split, but they are looking for that. So here comes... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, watch out for that. We might. Is this going to be a twist here for this team right here?
No. Reverse lasso.
Reverse lasso.
Nice. Yeah, you're getting the calls going.
Sick. Wow.
That's nice attention. Comes their death spiral.
So that's spread in.
So this? Yeah.
Is that necessary?
Forward outside death spiral too.
Whoa,
so
that's very hard.
Yeah.
And we're looking still for the head to be below the knee for the girl.
Yeah. So you're starting actually to see, even though it's very difficult, you're seeing a lot more. Big fan of her costume.
Love the costume.
Yeah, it's really nice color in here.
Yeah, the color is
I feel like
beautiful.
it's actually very fitting for the colors of the arena.
Yeah.
To be followed by Alisa Efimova and Misha Mitrofanov.
So Anastasia and Luke had a really strong skate last night. It was really, really nice to see. They looked so calm and collected, and I got to talk to them after, and she said on the practice in the morning, they didn't really have their legs under them at all, and they were really nervous, but then when they went out to perform, they felt so confident and
Maybe that's what you call it. The yeehaw
And
versus
the
the hee-yaw. That reverse is giving me the hee-yaw.
that is messing me up.
You're welcome. So how many elements does a pairs long have?
11. Yeah,
In 4
it's
minutes?
A lot in 4 minutes.
Wow.
A lot to do, a lot of turning.
Yeah.
Not a lot of breathing in between.
No, huh?
Mm-mm. I love this music. Like we touched on earlier, the carry, so this will be a time requirement. The carry has to be for at least 3 seconds.
Okay.
On one arm or doing crossovers.
Okay.
Change of direction for 1 turn will also count. And then looking at the death spiral, you can get a difficult entry or exit, and for each revolution in the low position. So the low position is depending on the head or how low the boy is sitting.
Do you need both to have it count?
The head and the boy sitting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So so you're getting 3 levels for that essentially for the 3 evolutions and then an exit.
Even just for the death spiral to count, you've got to sit low enough, and the girl has to be low enough as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Pair combo spin features. You're going to get difficult entry, difficult exit, reverse direction, 3 difficult variations of the position, the lift. Oh, that's actually a really cool thing that you can see like a lot of creativity come into. There's a lift that you can do for 2 revolutions.
Like a dance lift?
Within the spin.
Oh.
Yeah. So if any pairs do it out here today, hopefully we'll get to see some, but a lot of them will do like a lift in the middle of the spin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we just saw the extra level for the rotation going the other way at the very end. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
And then the last thing for that pair spin is the spin must have all 3 positions.
Okay.
So today you won't see a side-by-side spin, which you saw on the short program. You'll see a pair spin.
Love it. And
So
then,
that's the
but
difference.
also I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the man's camel does not count as a position. It's not a difficult position. Is that right?
In the pair spin?
Correct. Oh wow. In ice dance it does.
Really? Just a plain camel?
Just a straight up plain camel. And to get a girl's one, the female, like in the dance spin, you need a layover for it to count. But yeah, just a straight up basic 90-degree camel, we're good.
Wow, interesting.
Wild, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to
Did you feel
get
like
a
that
rocker.
was easy for you to do, or was that a hard position?
Nah, I mean, it wasn't that hard. But like, I don't like dance spins. I think that they're so boring, personally.
Well, they look a little bit more like what they were trying to implement into pairs, which was a choreo spin.
Yeah.
So
We
a little bit more creativity that you can have, or maybe freedom.
Yeah, our
You
take
guys
was
have?
just getting it done with it as quick as possible, so we spun the other direction. So we did a change direction, one position one way, one position the other.
And what were the features on that? Was it difficult?
Like
Going-
a low, mid position and a high position, essentially. So like a layback or ball sit happens, essentially.
Okay.
I love the way that Misha and Alisa skate.
Me too.
I think it's just so, like, I don't know if it's right, but it's like very old school pairs feel, like, which I love to see. I like the way that we develop, but I think also seeing that is refreshing in its own way.
That's my thing too. I feel like it really sets them apart from the pack.
Yeah.
When they artist skate really well, I think they'll be really rewarded for that too. I love her back on elements. The way she stands, it sometimes looks like she is wearing like a crown on her head.
So much.
Yeah.
Even now, like the way that she's holding
walking
herself,
through everything.
posture. The natural state is not like with bigger, like shoulders up, I should say.
Yeah, and for Lisa and Misha and Katie and Daniil, they had the same mistake in the short program yesterday, which was doubling the jump. So hopefully today we can see some improvement on that because all the other elements were so strong.
That's the yeehaw.
Yeah.
That was a yeehaw, everybody. That's a axle lasso.
Good job.
That's it. If you guys have any questions, please send them to Ashley and I at US Figure Skating on X. We'll do our best to try to answer those throughout these warm-ups here. I'm sure Ashley's already answered the majority of mine already.
It's nice to watch down here. You see like so much emotion.
So that's the thing,
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
I always find too, like when you're going into a long program, like you're really hungry. Not like physically, but like you want that. Yeah, you want to see what you can do. So I think that you like really put yourself in that setup to try to perform the best you can for later on.
Yeah. There's always so much place to like improve or pull up in the ranks in the long program because the short program always is like very similar to each other. People have like similar point scoring elements, whereas the long program is quite free and there's so many places to gain points on other teams.
So do you find that there can be a lot of movement after the short program in
Yeah.
phase?
Yeah, definitely. A
Oh,
lot
very
there.
cool.
Because we have such high risk elements.
Yeah.
At any point, there can be 4 to 5 falls in a program, and
Yeah.
we'll just put a team back. And then there will be a team that comes up and just stands up on everything. It might not necessarily be the most perfect program, but they're up, and they can really move up because of that. See, there's the lift and the spin.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That looked really easy for
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm just going to pick you up right now, whether you want to or not.
You're floating.
That's it. Cool.
Yeah.
Competitors, there are 5 minutes remaining in this practice session.
The long program practice always went by so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, so in ice dance, we have 5 teams on the ice. So, like, what would happen is after that last skater finishes, because our free dance is always 4 minutes as well, you would say, okay, the last music ends. Skaters, there's 1 minute left in your practice.
What?
So it's this crazy, like, you're trying to find your windows to get all your elements in.
Yes.
And there's, like, no time to just be like, can I have a second to breathe?
And a lot of times when other teams are doing their programs, like you're doing your best to stay out of their way
Yes.
too. So it's like you're spending a lot of time doing that, I find.
Absolutely.
There's the reverse lasso for Alisa and Misha.
What she meant is here's the he-ya for everyone watching. But the technical term is the reverse lasso. He-ya!
Please put us on a panel together.
That would be amazing.
Would be great.
I think so. I would just be really confused when the technical sheet comes out and it says reverse lasso.
Like,
I'm
what?
do you mean the he-ya? Yeah, +4. Thank you very much. Yeah, or like a cowboy pairs program. Would love that too.
Oh, so good.
Would be so fitting. You get some like whip sounds in there, like some
I'm
lasso
pretty sure
sounds.
like Sweet and Han did a cowboy program back in the day.
Would be
in
so-
junior when I
would make
competed
sense.
against them. So good.
Speaking of competing against people, did you know that our parents actually compete against each other?
Oh.
Like your dad competed against my dad in pairs?
So I never knew that till this morning.
That's wild,
it was
right?
so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, because both of our parents were our coaches for anyone that wasn't following along. And my parents, my mom was an ice dance coach and my dad was a pairs coach,
That
pairs
is also
skater.
crazy. My mom was an ice dancer.
Wild, right? So like, yeah, my mom was an ice dancer, dad was a pair skater, and yeah, so lo and behold, that my dad competed against Ashley's dad, and we won't say what the result was because I think it
say what
works.
the result
Oh
was.
yeah, okay. So yeah, Ashley's dad beat my dad. Sorry, Steve.
Good
But
job, Peter.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I just wanted to give them a quick shout out. I did not compete pairs though, so Ashley will not be competing against me. I would get wrecked. I'm also don't think I hit the height requirement for pair skating. Other than Han from Sui and Han, I think that there's probably like a 6-foot minimum to ride these rides.
Oh my god.
She's like speechless.
I'm speechless.
She's like, I got nothing to say.
I don't
Turn
know.
the mic off.
I don't know how to respond.
But what you can do is you can follow us on
It's
social
so true.
media, US Figure Skating, and that's going to be the best way to have us answer some more questions if you have any.
Ask us all your questions, please.
We just saw a good yeehaw.
Yeah, yeehaw. Hi, Colin.
How do you guys feel about the backflip in the men's long program? Yay or nay? You know, it's so interesting because I think that you're going to see some younger skaters trying backflips maybe, and if you're trying it later in the program, which is what's going to happen, I just like would hate to see an injury for something that might be a little unnecessary. Now, I think in terms of like Ilya, I think that he's so springy, and I think he just learned how to do a backflip in like July or August. So he's just sending it every time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it doesn't like really create an exciting factor and can bring a new audience appeal, but I think that it's going to become something that might be a little overused as well. So we're going to lose that exciting factor when it comes to doing it in performances like a show or an exhibition. So I don't know. I think the risk to reward, like, we haven't really figured that one out yet. I think it's really cool. I don't know if it's fully worth it.
Yeah, I think it'll be also interesting to see how many people actually utilize it this season, because you are so tired at the end of a long program or just either program in general. So I think it's hard to launch yourself into something like that. There's very few that I feel like could really do it. Ilya being one of it, Kevin from France as well, but or Adam, sorry, from France. But I think the risk factor is so big, but I'm also not the person doing a backflip, and I don't really know how hard it is, nor could I ever throw myself into one.
I mean, at the 3-minute 20 mark of any program I've ever done, I'm usually like,
I'm barely
okay,
able to do a split jump.
we're going to do some smooth sailing, beautiful moments,
Yes.
and I'm not about to try to do anything dynamic or explosive, because the times that I have, it does not look dynamic and explosive in not a very exciting way.
Yes, so true. I do think it's really exciting for the audience. Hopefully, maybe there can be some variations of it. I've seen people landing on one foot or having some different entrances to it as well, so maybe that would give some variety if it is starting to get a little monotonous after doing it for a while. Okay, we have, why is it so hard to get a level 4 on the twist? I would say a lot of times there can be a pause before the twist actually goes up. So if there's a break in the steps going in, then that won't get the level. So even if you are seeing them do an entrance, if there's a pause before, then they do not get that level. If the split on the way up does not happen and does not meet the requirement, that can easily be taken away as well. Sometimes the girl going up will try to go a little bit early, and that'll take away the full split factor.
Oh.
The man's hands not coming all the way down and then coming back up to catch the girl in time can also be a factor. And then a crash landing, like we spoke about yesterday, landing on the shoulder is really one that you'll see a lot with taking away the level there. I would say it's really hard to get all of these because as I'm saying that, it sounds like so many things to pack into one element that only takes up a few seconds, right? And so
it's a lot of cues.
And it's the first thing in the program. You know, it's the first thing that they're seeing. It's the first thing that they're trying out to see, okay, where is everything? You know, and you've really got to trust that timing that you've developed for it. Otherwise, you can lose those levels because of any sort of nerves or doubt.
Okay. Learning all the things.
Is there like a element that dancers will normally start their program with, or is it all different?
It's so different. I think, like, in my own experience, like, Kayla and I really leaned into trying to do our 1 foot section at the beginning. I think because, like, to try to get a level 4, level 3, just footwork in general is so hard in ice dance. But on top of that, like, to do it with a partner, like when you're partnering a footwork sequence, you can help the other person get their turns by, like, shaping the lobes. But when you're doing it alone, you're merely just completely flying solo. So I think that, like, we always did our first or second element, we did our 1 foot section. We also, like, strategically just knowing where we were, like, we tried to get our twizzles done before, like, the first minute and 45-second mark, just because, like, again, that fatigue that starts to hit around the 2 minute 15, like, you could be as trained as you want, you're still going to get a little tired at that point because you're hitting max heart rate with, like, usually in the first 10-15 seconds of a program, at least I did, and then you're kind of coasting there and then trying to find the ebbs and flows of it. So we wanted to try to get those, like, really big unison big ticket items out of the way, because, like, when you're doing things together, we can help each other so much that people don't see. Just hiding little things or making it look like it's fully intentional, like a loss of balance, like my body's a little bit out of the circle. I can find a way to hide that by just dancing it if I go out there and make you believe that I meant to do that, but it's really hard to do that when you're tired and alone.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well.
They've got a really explosive twist. If they were showing that on the screen there from the Japanese team, they've got a really explosive twist.
So today you can see today's schedule. We're still doing the second grouping now of the pairs practice. This is the warm-up for their free program later tonight, which you can catch at 2:40 p.m. Central Time on Peacock. After the pairs, we're going to be following up with the men's practice and then the women's. And then it's game time. Ice Dance Rhythm Dance event starts at 1 p.m.
I found the other day, so on Sunday I'm like doing a gala number with the kids from my rink.
Oh, cool.
And so I came out here and I stepped on the ice, and I haven't been on this sort of ice in so long. And I was like, wow, this place used to just feel so familiar.
Yeah.
Like I used to show up and know exactly what I was doing and my plan, and so trained, and it took me a second to, like, be like, whoa, this was a place that, like I said, felt like home.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of remember that again.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I was a little bit blinded like by the lights and the size and everything. And then as I started to skate more, it felt more familiar, but
You become so accustomed to it, like
Yeah.
even just in terms of like the bus schedule, like you go to different Grand Prix, it's different arenas, but backstage is set up very similarly. You have your warm-up area, and then you have your skaters lounge where the locker room is, where the ice is, bing, bang, boom, job's a good, and then you go home. Like, and you just get into such a routine of what feels good and what works for you. And when you step out and then you step back in, you're like, oh, whoa, this used to be so just my norm.
yeah. Yeah, and you were where you needed to be. Like, you just looked at the schedule and you knew exactly where you needed to be at that time to show up and
Yeah.
be ready. And so much was done around just recovery and being ready to go when you needed to be. And yeah.
I could have asked Swiss Timing to give you a schedule of when to be here this morning. You were on time, but
I
next
had
time
time
let
to
me
stop
know.
for coffee. Like, that was great. I was like, wow, no traffic this early on a Saturday morning. Love it.
We were asked why there were so many costumes at this pair practice versus the men's yesterday. Again, it's just a matter of comfort, and now I think a lot of that comes down to like partnering. I mean, I don't skate alone, but I know that when wearing a costume, it feels very different. So I think when you get the opportunity to like set in the arena, feel all that out, and then feel the costuming, even though you've done it many times in it, I think it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for pairs as well, we have to get used to, like on the twist where they're going to catch. A lot of guys are on the lifts too. They think it'll slide, so they want to get used to that feeling of where it's going to be. I'm sure it's the same for dance. It just feels
so
totally
much.
different than wearing like pants or something like that. So.
Oh, it used to kill me when Caitlin would have a bunch of stones on her costume and do like something around the neck. I'm like, well, there you go.
It was always the same for Tim as well. And we actually
Forward outside
another
desk.
forward outside desk
There
bow.
it
See, so
is.
many that you're seeing nowadays. Were you a fan of Pirates?
third or fourth in a free program was awesome. Fifth was like hard.
Long time.
It's a long time. Like I would sometimes like sit back there, depending if like we'd compete late at night at times, and if we were skating fifth in a free, it's like from the time you do the warm up to actually skating your performance, it's like a good 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is a long time from the last time you touch the ice. I'd take my skates off, I'd like close my eyes, and I know at first, like sometimes our coaching team would be like, are you taking a nap? But no, I was just kind of meditating and putting myself in like, oh, it's a really good sit spin. Visualization, like the amount of visualization that I would do would be like drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was like gonna be a little obsessed about it because I wanted to like really put my mind on that and not let it drift.
That is exactly what I would do too. I would almost do it to a point where I got into a meditative state because I was seeing myself do it so many times, and I felt like my muscles were almost fired up to do it because I'd seen myself do it so many times.
So here's a great question. Did you like see yourself do it, or did you like look from the perspective of your own eyes when you did it? So would you like
look from the perspective of my own eyes?
Same. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I could have ever like actually
like
felt myself like seen it from from myself. Is that how to say it? But like I would always see myself doing it in the arena.
Oh, okay. I would do the opposite. I would like see it as if I was looking at Caitlin.
Oh.
Yeah, because like for me that's
so
like
interesting.
It's and I talked about this with Caitlin too, and she was like you.
Yeah.
She would like visualize herself doing it. Versus like I would visualize myself doing it from a perspective of like my perspective. So like doing a mohawk around her and like the partnering that I would create, like it would be how I would want to feel, like allowing myself to feel through it rather than see myself do it. But there's not like a wrong answer by all means. I think it's just like different, your natural like how you automatically do it. I didn't like train myself to do it.
That's so fascinating to me. I think it just shows like the different ways that you can use visualization to help you too. There's not just like one track, but the fact that you did that and I did it, and we both had a similar like outcome of it too. You know?
Absolutely. It's really finding what works for you. I mean, you could visualize whatever you want.
Sometimes I was almost excited after competition that it was like, I mean, I loved competing, but that it was done because I was like, I don't have to see myself doing something for a little bit, you know?
It was...
I'd go over it in my head so many times.
It was the night before for me, like, or in between the warm-up and the competition, like, where you getting those, like, sweaty naps, even though you're, like, not warm. You're just, like, thinking way too much of, like, nerves are building up. It's so
Sometimes
normal.
you have, like, a little shudder. Like, all of a sudden you realize you were, like, thinking about it so much.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's wild how much we dedicate to the craft.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Obviously we've both suffered concussions in our careers, but for you, did the visualization start because of those? Because a lot of mine started because of that. When I was off the ice, not able to actually train, they had me do a lot of visualization just to still train my body in a way.
I mean, I did it before that. I found that it helped me, but I definitely put more intentional practice behind it after I had the first concussion. I'm so excited for this Georgian team later. I thought they were a little underscored yesterday for the performance that they put out personally. I thought it was really exciting. And I think that they just have such strength and grace when they're skating.
Yeah, they've got very, very big elements as well with a lot of speed behind them. So I think that can really be showcased today in a free program. Here we go. Let's hear your call.
Hee-yaw!
Yep.
Reverse lasso.
Good job.
Lasso.
Very nice position.
You pair skaters love the walls.
Really do. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Ice is too small for us.
Yeah, it's fair.
Did you and Caitlin ever talk, like in a performance?
I'd say there was a couple times we did. Like we tried not to because it can pull you out. But I would like. We talked a lot with our eyes to each other. Like really saw one another.
As well.
Yeah. I would like say breathe a lot, and it was merely just for the purpose of myself. Because like
to hear yourself say
I
it.
wanted to hear myself say it.
Yes.
And there's a couple times like when we'd be hitting like the last like 20 seconds or 30 seconds of a program, I would do like a let's go kind of thing.
Just get the energy up a little bit.
Yeah, just again, really for myself. Like she didn't need the energy at the end of the program. She was the one helping me more times than not. So. Ellie and Danny, love it.
Really strong skate from them yesterday. I was really proud of them. They've just continued to grow throughout this season and showcase why they are national champions too. I think that they've really taken that on and done really great with that. There's sometimes pressure that can come with being a national champion and heading into the next season, especially coming into a Skate America in front of a home crowd, and I feel like they're doing really well of managing that. And when I spoke with them yesterday, they said that they just really love the programs that they have and they can really dedicate themselves to the craft of it and almost lose themselves in that instead of worrying about so many other factors, which I think is a great place to be in. So that would be throw lots.
Okay.
That just happened right there. And that was a strong one too. What I love about their programs is I feel like there's moments where you could take pictures and it looks so beautiful. And
yeah.
just like one after another. Like if people were snapping photos, it would look stunning.
They create a lot of really beautiful moments.
And I think what a lot of people need to remember is Ellie is just so new to pairs. And Danny had been out of it for a little bit and I think was looking at retirement or thing. And then, you know, he was up there in Colorado working with a lot of Drew's teams and started to skate with Ellie, and a beautiful partnership came out of that. But she's brand new and started at the senior level. It's a lot to ask sometimes of a skater, and she's really stepped up to it.
I was saying this the other day, like, you know, when there's not much to say when a skater is skating, that they've got you.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so nice to watch them go through that thing.
Yeah, and in the arena yesterday, you really felt the effect of how their program is constructed, because we were speaking on it yesterday, but they've got a lot of their very, very strong elements at the back end, and these lifts that you're seeing are just, they flow, there's effortless throughout. They're both performing beautiful positions from Ellie. Danny is just so strong in his position as well as a partner, and that gives her that confidence up above to finish those lifts out nicely.
That's something I noticed with Danny. He's so clear and aware of where he wants to be when he's partnering and lifting and all the things.
I mean, they almost just did 3 lifts back to back, and they don't look gassed at all.
No, it's awesome.
So
he even had time to look at the roof there on that exit.
yeah. And another lift at
He's
the
like,
end.
why not?
Yeah, one more.
Skating now, Riku MIURA and Ryuichi KIHARA from Japan.
Such a joy to compete against. Like, always like this, in the off-ice warm-up, in the practices, just always so, like, joyful. Brought a lot of good energy to the competition.
When that happens in Paris and your partner falls on the jumping combination, is that something that's really distracting?
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time it has already happened in practice, so it's nothing new.
Yeah.
And you just try to perform the element as best as you can for the remaining whatever's left.
Yeah.
The only thing is sometimes when they fall, the hands can get wet, things can get slippery.
Oh, yeah.
So you're also trying your best to cover up that you are wiping off your hands
Oh my
too,
gosh,
for
I
that
didn't even
next
think of that.
element. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Even down to like what's so interesting, the difference between pairs and ice dance is like how you guys have a general hold. Like how you guys grip, you guys like interlock pinkies and stuff. It's wild. Like versus ice dancers, I'm like, yeah, we're just gonna go for like a little stroll in the park and like.
I think has come
to watch too. Do you miss like seeing those like even crazier elements like a quad?
I don't know. I guess because I was competing during that time, I didn't focus too much on them. Because if they had it in a competition against me, I was kind of like, okay, that's their own thing. I'm not going to focus on that. But I know some people have spoken out about like they wish that they could see more of that because we see so much of it in the men's events and sometimes in the women's as well. But I don't know. I think you're asking so much of these skaters and to put that high risk. So much can go wrong in a quad twist, in a quad throw, and it's not quite worth it for the health of the athlete always.
Yeah, I totally respect that. I also loved how Ryuichi and Ryu just there, like, kind of just marked even an ending pose.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you can tell that he's like, I'm going to conserve my energy now. I think Ryuichi's like notoriously known for when he gets tired, you know he's tired,
Yeah.
but he doesn't lose it in his skating, but he will let you know in his face that he's tired. Like, some of the photos that come out of him skating and his last, when he goes for that last lift, it's notorious when he does that lunge.
It's amazing when he does that
The lunge
like,
one.
At the end of a long
But
program
you
is insane.
you see in his face, he's like, I'm digging so deep for it, which is so
Yes.
admirable, first off. And they'd video it, and then there'd be like 3 or 4 of the coaches and other skaters would be watching. We'd emulate the 5-minute warm-up. You get on, and you do your performance, and it was just so much more tiring than like what a competition would feel like, because it would be like on a Thursday or Friday at the end of a hard training week.
Cold and dark in the rink too. Like.
Yeah, it's like, because it was always part of our training plan in terms of like knowing when we're pushing and a hard pushing week is versus like a recovery time frame, and it was always like at the end of a hard push week for us to do something like that, because it was like, again, to train your body and your mind to know that you can do it under fatigue, and that the performance usually wasn't always awesome. So then what you'd do is you'd train harder the following week to be like, okay, I don't want that to be the case. And it's just like so much. I mean, yes, there's so much physical, but I think that there's so much of a mental game that goes on with skating and partnering too. Like having the space to care for somebody else and do your job at the same time, and not let them affect you, but also like help them do their job. It's such a challenge. Did you guys do simulations or things like that as well? Or?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we basically did exactly the same thing. I think simulations are so key, and I definitely felt exactly what you were talking about. I feel like I always went into it being like, if I know I can get through this on like a Thursday after a hard training like week, then we can do it in competition easily. But before nationals in 2022, heading into Olympics, when you know, stress is like it's so high stress to even qualify and get that spot, right? We did so much heading into that. Sometimes we felt like a little bit insane, but it prepared us so well when we got to nationals that nothing affected us. We would actually like play our competitors' music before we went to go do our program.
To really get yourself in that space too. Wow,
And
very interesting.
Timothy and I would like stand on the side, and Tim would say the scores.
Oh, wow.
So the name and potential scores that the team before us could get. So whether that was going to be Alexa and Brandon, Jessica and Brian, Audrey and Misha at the time, Timothy would like say the scores and everything, and then we'd go out and do our programs, and then afterwards like say a potential score that we could get. And it was actually really crazy, because when we got to that championships, Audrey and Misha skated right before us, and they actually scored like an identical score to what Timothy would say. So it was like, I remember in my brain being like, wow, I've already heard this before, and nothing seems out of element.
Wow, that's crazy.
Competitors, your practice session has ended. Please leave the ice. We will now take a short break to resurface the ice, to be followed by the men's short program practice session.
And that concludes the pair's warm-up for their free skate later today. Thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us. I learned so much, honestly. The yeehaws, the hee-yaws, all the above, how to get a level 4 something. No, for real, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you here. We can definitely thank your dad for beating my dad. Appreciate
so
that
true.
one as well. Super excited to see this pairs event later today. You're going to be able to catch it on Peacock. First off, it's going to be the ice dance at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, but the pairs free skate will be at 2:40 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, check that out on Peacock. I know both Ashley and I will be here watching, so we hope you guys tune in and check it out. Thank you.
See you there. Stay tuned.
We welcome you to the most important annual event in American skating. It's anyone's game when the skaters take the ice tonight at Nationals. Ham and O'Shea win the gold medal. Simply the best in the world.
The way that he moves across the ice is just like butter.
March 25th through the 30th, 2025, the world comes to Boston and the TD Garden. Over 300 of figure skating's best will compete at the 2025 ISU World Figure Skating Championships for the title of World Champion. The world's most celebrated skating competition returns to Boston and the United States for the first time in 9 years, and you can be there. Advance tickets are on sale now. Visit ISUWorlds2025.com for more information and to buy your tickets today.